Today, in this video, we are going to touch upon a new concept which is called UiPath Solutions. Hi everyone, welcome back to the next series on this channel, which is going to be on solution management. UiPath has recently introduced something which is called UiPath Solution or solution management, which is pretty good and a powerful features for RPA developers. In this complete playlist, we are going to explore this into more details. This is the first video and I believe you are an RPA developer. So I'm going to introduce you to this concept and then you will realize that, wow, this is a very good feature, right? So today videos is going to be an introduction. In the upcoming videos, I would be going deep down into the topic. So it is important for us to understand the basics first, right? So today we are going to talk about what is a UiPath solution. Okay, so I am back into my OneNote and let's try to understand the current design and the development flow as an RPA developer. Okay, so what happens today? So for example, today I am a developer and I want to create an application. Though first thing first is I will simply open my UiPath Studio, right? Into my UiPath Studio, I am going to write a lot of code, right? Once my code is successful, then during the coding, I might require a lot of resources, such as I might interact with some assets. Okay. I might also create an app, or during the coding I might also require the action center, right? That into my studio, whenever I am coding, these are the things which I might require. Now once all of that is done, what we typically do as an RPA developer is we actually deploy all of them to something which is called a orchestrator. Now into this orchestrator, only this code is deployed and all of these separate things are deployed into their separate places, correct? Action center is separate, apps is separate, asset is separate, and the different components are separate. Now inside the orchestrator, we actually get it as a NuGet. Then from the NuGet, we create a process, and then from that process we create jobs, and then we actually run it, right? And while doing all of this, we have to set up all of these components separately. The other thing is, when I am developing it, right, at the time of the development till the time my app is ready, I cannot use the components of the app directly into my coding, because first I have to deploy the app separately. If I have to create an action center task, first I have to deploy the action center task, then use it, and then reference. Now into the production, what happens is, while I am running the job, there are a lot of times that I miss the dependency. Okay, the app is not there, the action center is missing, you are not doing this, right? So this all is the current setup, and this is where a lot of developers are spending a lot of time, right? If you agree to that, just comment down yes. Okay, now what happened? This was into the development. Now my code is already running into, let's say, my development. From the development, now my development is done, and now I want to move this complete package which involve a lot of things like my code, my action app, maybe my services, right? Whatever it is, all my assets, all of this I have to move to a new environment called, let's say, testing. Now into this is my orchestration 1 and this is my orchestrator 2. Now to do this deployment also, I have to move all these components one by one. The same will apply when you have to move it to a pre-prod, or let's say prod, or wherever it is, right? So if it is a pre-prod, then you have to move all these components one by one, and the same set of pain we have to again go through. But typically, if you see that this complete thing is a one solution, right? So wouldn't it be good that if I would have something which could ease all of this from a developer point of view? Now, as UiPath is growing, we have new technologies which are getting embedded, or we have new tools or functionalities which are available. We have agent builders, we have Maestro, we have a solution which is working on Studio Web, and all of the different components. So let's say today I have to create an end-to-end application which uses two RPA projects, okay, which is nothing but your basic RPA. Now these two basic RPA has to be used by the two agentic solution, which is nothing but your agent builder, and then all four of this component, let's say, has to be used by one Maestro, which is your orchestration. Now if today I have to build such solution, and having the background what we just discussed, what a developer have to do? First, they will create these two processes. These two processes would be then deployed to orchestrator, correct? Then you would go to agent builder. You will create two agents. These two agents will use these two from the orchestrator. Till the time all of this is done, you cannot work on Maestro, because Maestro will say that, okay, give me the agent, give me the project. So before you actually use that everything in Maestro into the separate components, you would have to take this from the orchestrator, this agent from the orchestrator, this you have to deploy it first and then use it in the Maestro. But ideally, all of this is again part of the one solution. So where exactly solution management is coming in picture? Solution management is coming in picture to simplify all of this into a single unit, which is called solution. With this background, let's now go back to a little bit theory and then try to understand what and where it is useful. Okay, so what exactly is a UiPath solution? Let's go by the theory. A UiPath solution is a modern enterprise application built on the UiPath platform that bundles the code, the automation, the data, the APIs, the versioning, the configuration, everything into a single unit. So all the different components which you can have into a complete project or a solution, if I combine all of them together into a big modern enterprise application and I combine everything, that would be called as a UiPath solution, which will help me to code easily. And whenever I have to move the components from one environment to another environment, or in other words, from one orchestrator to another orchestrator, it would be very easy for me, right? Now, why exactly it matters and why as an RPA developer I should be worried about it? So first of all, into my real-time projects, you built your project in many different parts, right? That we just saw. I have processes, I have assets, I have queues, I have triggers, storage, libraries, ML skill. All of them are created into 10 different places. And then I as a developer, I am deploying everything one by one and then I am trying to stitch them together. And while I am stitching, the platform does not automatically know that which all things belong to which category. That's where solution come as a solution, which means that you can actually bundle it version it, and promote it with the same set of configuration. So basically it is an easier way to tell UiPath that, see UiPath, all of these different components are from a single solution. Okay. This remove the manual rework and reduce the drift between the development, testing, pre-prod and prod, and depending on the environment which you have. The next thing is, you might have a question that, Mukesh, what all I can put into that bundle, or what all I can put into that solution? And the answer to that is this. If I take orchestrator as one component, so this would be category and subcategory. Okay. So from orchestrator, you can put process, assets, queues, trigger, storage buckets, webhook, libraries. If I talk about integration services, you can put connections and the event triggers. In terms of apps, yes, definitely apps is there. For Action Center, it would be Action Catalog. From data services or data fabric, it would be entities and choice sets. And from context grounding, if you are doing some concept of RAG and everything, you can pass the indexes. So these are all the things from all the different categories which you can club together. And when I say processes, this definitely include the RPA processes, agent builder and all of that comes with it, right? So these are all the different solution components which you can stitch together. Okay. Let's try to see how does it works end to end. So into my very poor drawing, I just showcased you that how today it happens and you would be able to relate it. Let's try to see how would a solution management work. First thing first, you will publish your processes, package, libraries to orchestrator as usual. Then you would assemble everything in something which is called solution builder. So you would create a solution, add all the required components, define the values, and you can also override it as per the environment, which we are going to see in the upcoming option. Next, you will publish a solution package, which means that you will generate a version package that includes all the artifacts, deployment, configuration, everything related to that project. Then we would deploy this with the UiPath Solution installer into the target tenant. We can select the package, upload the package, and all the environment things like credential, endpoint, APIs, everything would be pre-configured for me, and I will get a guided experience of deployment. And lastly, in case if you are in some kind of CI/CD, which is continuous integration, continuous deployment, this can also work with automation ops as well. How cool is that, right? Okay, so now that you have understood the basics, let me quickly show a quick sneak peek of solution overview, that how does it look like. And into the upcoming videos, we will use this thing into detail by creating a small use case as we always do. But right now, let me quickly show it to you. How does it look like? Okay. So for that, you just have to come to this cloud.uipath.com, right? This is my community account, so this should be available to you as well. Okay. Into the 9 dots, you simply have to click on this one, which is the studio, and that should open the studio web for you. Now, in case if you are someone who is very new to studio web, I have one video which I will hook up in the description. That is a video which I taught to students about studio web. Feel free to refer that, and that will give you a fair enough idea of studio web. Okay. Now, once you are in the studio web, all you have to do is here into the create new, you will see all these different options which are available. However, if you just click on this small drop down, you would see here something which is called create new solution, which is right now in preview. So I'll just go here and I'll say create new solution. And then it is asking me, choose where would you like to begin into the solution. Where would you like to start with? So I'll say that I would like to start with the RPA workflow inside the solution. Now, this is how it will look like. I'll just try to maybe rename it. I'll just say solution underscore demo so that it is easy for us to relate to. Okay. Now, this is one solution which I have created. And assuming that today I'm an RPA developer which is writing a RPA workflow, you can think it of a dispatcher. Now, into the same project, I need to have another workflow which is like a performer, or maybe another workflow which is going to get the data from different sources. I can click on this plus, and you can see that it is showing add projects to the solution, and I can add a different project to the same solution, which I can say maybe get data, hypothetically, right? Now I want to have one more RPA process, which is, let's say, going to put the data into a website. So I can say that website data fetch or pull, or maybe website data push, right? Let's call it website data push, something, anything, right? So into my single solution, I have added 3 different RPA projects. What else? I today require that I need a app, which is a UiPath app. So I can create an app, and I can directly work on that app from here only. I am no longer switching these screens. So I'll just maybe randomly select an app. We'll work on this. And now you can see that in my single solution, I have an app, I have a data workflow, I have a RPA workflow, I have 2-3 RPA workflow, one app, and all of this stuff. By the way, you can also create an agent as well. So let's say I have added an agent as well. Now, once all of this component is done, I want to stitch it up together into Maestro. Now, here comes the interesting part. I can actually add a Maestro also here, which is an agentic process. And now, into the Maestro, you realize that all of these are still into my development. I have not deployed them to the orchestrator, but if in the Maestro, if I just try to, create start and wait for RPA workflow, if I try to do that, you would see that all these one which I just created, get data, RPA workflow and all, I can directly use. And if I would have created some arguments inside the RPA workflow, let's say into this RPA workflow, right? Let's try to do that. Into that RPA workflow, if I just create an argument, maybe I'll just say out_name, right, for simplicity, and I'll create it. Now, if I go to my agentic process, into the BPMN and into the RPA workflow, just realize I just added it. I haven't deployed anything yet. If I just go here, you can see that out_name is coming here, and I can add the data to it, whatever I want to add. So if I have 3, 4, 5 RPA processes which I want to stitch together, I do not have to necessarily deploy them. I can just directly use them into flow, into agent, Maestro, wherever you want, and just pass the data between one another. And when you actually deploy this, all of this is going to be a single package. If you are not using the solution management, you would have to deploy all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 components separately. Let me quickly show you how does it look like with solution. So here at the top, once you are done with development, and assuming that I'm pushing it to different orchestrator as well, right? I click on this button, which is publish. It's validating the resources that whatever I have are okay or not, and I'm putting it to my workspace only, and I'll just say publish. Okay, so now it is publishing. Solution have started. We'll notify you once it is complete. Meanwhile, let me go to my cloud account. Okay, and let's go to the orchestrator meanwhile. So it is published, but it is not deployed yet, right? So you can see that the status is also available for you here. Okay, so now you can see that solution has been created and is deployed. Let's click on this one, which is check automation, and which will take you definitely to the orchestrator only. Okay, now into the orchestrator, I have not deployed the 6 components separately. Here you would see that inside the my workspace, all of this is available for me. I can click on this button, which is solution folder, and that will go to the my workspace solution demo. This is what I created. Now if I click on the solution demo, this is what I was talking about. All of these are deployed at once without me deploying all of them one by one. And here in the packages, you have all those different packages which are created. Isn't it interesting, right? So basically what we are trying to say is, whenever you are working on a big project, treat that as a solution and put the complete thing with the help of solution. So this what you see today is an example of solution. Okay. I hope this clears a lot of doubt, and now you understand what is solution. In the upcoming videos of this playlist, I am going to create a small end-to-end automation. We'll try to see how do we pass the data from one, I would say one application to another application, or one product to another product, one project to another project. How do you pack it, solution, best practices, all of that we are going to see in the upcoming videos. But this video was to give you the basics of solution management. And guys, feel free to explore it yourself. You will be surprised to see how good it is. Okay, so before I wrap up this video, whenever I talk about solutions or solution management, specifically with the developers, they have a lot of questions. And I thought of covering some of this question into this slide so that you don't have them, right? So how is solution package different from a process package, right? Which you put as a NuGet. A process package is a code or a library, whereas a solution package is the references plus the routine resources and configuration to run the complete use case. When I deploy it a NuGet, which is called a process package, so that is how the solution package is different, because it is publishing the complete thing, right? So don't get confused. The second question is, where do I find solution? Into the orchestrator, whichever tenant you have selected, under the solution you will find the solution. Pretty obvious, right? The next thing is, can I deploy it to another tenant? Yes, just upload the package from one tenant to another tenant. We'll park that forward into the different thing. But that was one of the problem, right? Dev to test to NFT or to production, right? You can do that. And the last question, can I use it to automate the deployment? Yes, we discussed that in the beginning, right? That you can use CI/CD and automation ops to build, test and deploy all of this automatically as well, right? Okay, so that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any more question, feel free to put it in the comments and I would be happy to answer them. I would really appreciate your feedback on this content. That did you guys like the video on this solution management, and would you like to see more of the content, right? I'll really appreciate your feedback. And with that, wrapping this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and see you in the next one. Thank you for watching and happy automation.